Today's headlines are: the Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa, the leading professional body for financial planners, shares its vision to provide professional financial planning for all. Eugene Zwane, soccer legend and successful businessman, tells us why everyone should work with a CFP professional. And consumers from various life stages state what financial planning means to them. Hello, I am Lebo Mutswedi and welcome to FPI News. In breaking news, the Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa, FPI, have come forward saying that life has enough complexities and uncertainties as it is, and that your financial well-being shouldn't be one of them. According to FPI, the focus of a professional financial planner is to translate financial complexities into simple, effective solutions that not only provide clarity for today, but certainty for tomorrow. FPI said its mission is to advance and promote the preeminence and status of financial planning professionals while at all times acting in the interest of the public. We met with Godfrey Ndi, the CEO of FPI, to find out more.
FPI, the Financial Planning Institute, is a not-for-profit, SACWA-recognized professional body. We benefit the public by ensuring that the members that we accredit are experts in financial planning. We benefit the public by making sure that the levels of professionalism and ethical standards of the industry, financial service industry, is at the highest to benefit the public. FPI is a founding member of the International Financial Planning Standards Board. This body sits in the United States of America. Through this partnership, we are able to bring international best practice to South Africa because we think that the South African population deserves nothing less. It is very important that we recognize that financial planning is so vital to every single South African, and making sure that we have this partnership with the international body helps for us to bring best practice to South Africa. The CFP designation is so vitally important for every single South African because with this mark, the CFP designation, it gives every single South African a sense of comfort that the individual who carries this designation are the most competent, the most ethical, and they definitely would put the client's interests first when they engage with them when it comes to their financial planning needs.
FPI believes that with many brokers, advisors and consultants in the financial services industry claiming to offer advice, the need to seek out true professional advice is critical. Out of nearly 100,000 registered representatives licensed with the Financial Services Board, only around 4,600 of these are certified financial planner professionals. At a time of global financial turmoil and regulations constantly changing, seeking out an expert to navigate you through these uncertain times is vital. We met with Eugene Zwane, a professional who has worked with a financial planner from a young age, to find out what he thought.
As a young person growing up in the townships, I made pretty much the same mistake as any young person would. When I started off in professional football, I was earning $100. And like any young person, I wanted the best clothes, the best fashion, the latest fashion. And as my profile grew and people started noticing me walking up and down the street, as the girls started paying attention, I wanted more. I wanted a car, I wanted a place of my own. So I was under a lot of financial pressure, and I think that is the challenge that a lot of young soccer players are facing at the moment. Perhaps in a much better position now because they're earning significantly more than what we did. But like any young person, I made those mistakes, spent a lot of money on things that aren't that important, but felt like I needed them at the time. I didn't become successful by chance. It required some planning, but I was in a very fortunate position. While I was still playing, I enrolled for a BCom degree. I had a keen interest in finance and accounts. I actually wanted to be a chartered accountant. And while I was studying, I got exposed to the concepts of investments, the time value of money, the cost of debt, and all of those things. And that kind of shaped my thinking around money and my relationship with money. That's why I was able to make the kind of investments that I've made and gotten to a point where I am right now. South African soccer players do not plan particularly well for their retirement. But the same can be said about players in other parts of the world, perhaps sports people in general. An average person will earn in their lifetime anywhere between 300 and 400 checks if they work 35 to 40 years over their lifetime. An average soccer player will play for an average of 10 years and will earn on average 120 paychecks. So there's a huge difference between a soccer player and an average worker in terms of their ability to earn over their lifetime. So the question is, how does the player plan financially to ensure that they save enough, they invest enough, they pay off big debt enough while they are playing, so that when they retire, they don't have to worry about big purchases. It's really about day-to-day living expenses that they can actually live off their investments if they plan it properly. So that is the challenge that young people face, and part of the advice that I offer them is that they need to take care of their expenses, manage their expenses so that they do not commit themselves to unnecessary items that they purchase, like cars or a fleet of cars, or debts on houses that they will not be able to pay once they've retired. So it's important that they pay off the debt while they are still playing, and make sure that they save up enough to be able to sustain their earnings after retirement. The best piece of financial advice I've ever received was that pay off debt as quickly as possible, especially long-term debt. But I also learned from a lecturer at business school that while it is important to pay off long-term debt, it is also important to have debt, so that not everything that you have, you finance yourself. So it is important to have debt, but use it wisely to your advantage.
From FPI's experience, the first life stage consumers are students, young adults, and people in their first job. Although the degree of responsibility varies greatly from one individual to another, most people in this life stage will experience the reality of working with a budget for the first time. FPI says it is crucial to acquire a basic understanding of money matters and to commit to taking responsibility for your own financial future. Being at this life stage may also bring with it the exciting prospect of buying a car, but the equally nerve-wracking increase in debt. Credit cards and overdrafts also become available, and very often consumers at this life stage need to be taught how to manage them responsibly. The greatest asset in this life stage is the ability to earn an income, usually with no dependence. Having a long future ahead is an advantage, and if you find yourself in this life stage, you should use it to compound your wealth. In this case, the old adage is certainly true. The earlier you begin to save, the better. Potential financial planning needs during this stage are budgeting assistance, debt management, acquiring income protection, and appropriate health insurance. Our reporters went out to the field to find out more.
Yeah, I think it's very important to work from a budget every month, because without it, I lose track of what I need to pay, and sometimes I find myself a little short on cash. It's not nice having to borrow from Peter to pay Paul, if you know what I'm saying.
Now, since I'm studying to become a future businessman, I think the greatest risk to my financial well-being at this stage in my life is taking on more debt than I can handle. And I mean, having little or no savings at all.
Well, I actually remember a quote that I read one day, and it told me something about how a budget is telling you where your money is going instead of you sitting there wondering where it went. And I think it really stuck with me because it encouraged me to be in control of my cash and not let my cash be in control of me.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know what my granny told me one day?
What?
Like, when you get paid, you have one half as your savings and one half to spend. And when you have leftovers of what you spend, add it to your savings, and that way you build up more money, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think in my case, I was always told, try not to get a credit card because you end up spending more than you have. So always spend only what you have.
When it comes to providing financial advice to those with limited means, like the students we just featured, CFP professionals may be called to offer their services pro bono. This incredibly satisfying work provides CFP professionals with new opportunities and challenges. It enhances the reputation of the profession, develops a deep trust between the public and the CFP professional, and adds value to the corporate social responsibility of FPI. By having pro bono programs, the public gain invaluable information that can be used to improve their own personal financial status. We spoke to Nigel Wilmot, a CFP professional who is very passionate about getting involved in pro bono initiatives.
Consumers, by attending the consumer awareness initiatives, can gain valuable financial guidance, financial coaching, financial mentoring, and can gain answers and insights to the various financial planning questions that they may have on their mind. It's all about pro bono, it's all about giving back. It's all about us as CFP professionals sharing our knowledge with members of the public. Some of my more memorable FPI pro bono events has been primarily around the My Money 123 program. The FPI My Money 123 program is a financial education program. I've done a number of these events at companies, at non-profit organizations, where we've gone and made a connection with the staff and helped them understand the basics of financial education. It's all about targeting things like budgeting, debt management, savings and investments, and giving people the basics. I've been involved in doing a number of these classes and interventions, and it's been very, very gratifying to go out and do these pro bono initiatives and just share and give back to people in terms of financial literacy. In addition to that, I've been involved in the Financial Planning Week, where we've gone to shopping centres, set up a stall and just made a connection with people that are in the shopping centre just to talk about their personal finances. The biggest lesson that I've learned by being involved in the FPI pro bono events is that it really is good to give back. It's good to be able to share the knowledge that I've accumulated over the years with the man in the street. It gives the man in the street the opportunity to be able to connect with a CFP professional, and for that person to be able to ask whatever financial matters might be on their mind. It's very gratifying to be able to impart people hope in terms of that it's not all lost and that they can turn around their lives in terms of their personal financial planning. I'd like to tell my fellow CFP professionals that they should get involved in pro bono initiatives. It is good to give back. It is good to share the knowledge that you've accumulated. Don't keep it to yourself. Get out there and be an inspiration to others in terms of helping them turn around their personal financial planning.
It is said that settling down may involve tying the knot, and it will become necessary to establish budgeting priorities with your spouse. FPI knows that couples sometimes have to make difficult financial decisions, especially when managing a joint income. One of them is making sure that a sufficient portion of this is invested. This is often the time to purchase a home and commit to long-term bond repayments. As debt levels increase, the financial plan must also accommodate for sufficient life insurance and greater income protection to ensure that the couple can remain financially secure even in the face of adversity. Takira and Yusuf Fredericks tell us their thoughts on good and bad debt.
The way we differentiate between good and bad debt is by asking ourselves one question. Will this either generate an income for us or increase our net worth? If we answer yes to it, then we know it's good debt. If the answer is no, we try to stay away from it.
To be truthful, we didn't think about our retirement much until our CFP professional showed us the importance of planning for it. It was surprising how much we needed to consider.
We've only just recently started saving for retirement. We probably would have been much better off had we started saving from a younger age. But I'm glad we started now and not later.
The Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa has revealed that starting a family often coincides with a career taking off. However, for many couples, a bigger paycheck does not translate into worry-free living. With the addition of each bundle of joy, financial responsibilities increase. Many families choose to buy a bigger home or extend the one they have and often feel the need to have a more spacious and safer family car. This often results in rising debt levels and more financial pressure. One partner may choose to take a drop in income so that they can spend more time caring for the children. The high cost of education becomes a pending reality, and the idea of saving towards it may be overwhelming. The trend of starting a family a little later, as well as increasing life expectancies of aging parents, may add further financial strain to an already tight situation. At this stage, the need for financial advice and guidance has never been greater. Amanda and Tamimbuyani stated what has been the most difficult budget change they've had to make since having a child.
Since having a child, the most difficult thing we experienced was not being well prepared for all the hospital bills, the doctors. So
since as we first-time parents, for every cough and sneeze, we panic and we rush our son to a doctor.
And unfortunately, we didn't have a medical aid, so the bills just kept on piling up. And then, yeah, it was very difficult for us.
Fortunately enough, we've got a life cover. Our CFP sat with us and did a full financial needs analysis.
And according to her, she said we've got enough life cover for where we are right now, but she said she will come review it from time to time. In the past, we dealt with a financial planner who gave us the worst advice ever.
I think his main objective was to earn a commission on the sale of our policies and not of our financial well-being.
Now we only deal with a CFP professional.
We didn't turn to anyone else when it comes to making a financial decision, big or small.
Within the empty nest or pre-retirement phase, FPI asserted that time is no longer an asset. Accumulated wealth is all one has to maintain one's lifestyle. This is often a daunting time where prudent financial and investment decisions need to be made. Ashley and Paul Lacey told FPI News about their greatest fears concerning their future.
I actually think about my retirement quite often. When I look at the amount of time I have left before retirement, I get a little flustered because I wonder if I've made enough provision for that stage of my life.
Besides my beautiful wife, I would say our greatest asset is our home. It's something we've ploughed a lot of our income into. We've tried to create a safe haven for our children over the years, and now it's going to be a place our future grandchildren will enjoy coming to. Eventually it'll be something for our children to inherit, or if we decide to downscale, we will take the profits of the house and invest it into the lives of our children.
Absolutely. Whenever I was offered financial advice, I used to think it was strange that I had to pay a fee. But actually, after I had had some time to think about it, it makes sense to me. I wouldn't go to the dentist or lawyer without paying for their services. I think the same reasoning should be applied when receiving financial advice.
When reaching retirement, there's often very little one can do to improve your financial security and future. If you haven't planned for this particular event, you probably won't be in a position to maintain the lifestyle you've become accustomed to. FPI advocates early retirement planning so that everyone enjoys retirement as they should, without any financial concerns. Donovan and Shemaine Davis shared their insight into planning for early retirement.
There's very little we fear. I think we've planned our retirement well. We've always been very active, and sometimes retirement requires us to slow down. But I think keeping busy will keep our minds and bodies young.
In the beginning of our marriage, the only thing we knew about financial planning was that we had to have a funeral policy and a life policy. The advisors we dealt with over the years mostly just sold us this kind of policy. After having our kids, we realized that we had to save for their education. This is when we got into contact with a CFP professional. The experience we had dealing with him was so different to the experience we had dealing with financial planners who did not hold a CFP designation. The advice we received and the financial guidance he gave us put us in a position to retire early.
I think successful retirement would be what we have. Because of the excellent service we receive from our certified financial planner, we are able to enjoy early retirement. We have all the leisure time we've always wanted. We are now able to travel, spend time with our kids and grandkids, and do all the things we were never in a position to do because of work constraints. Not having to worry about debt is amazing. Now we can truly enjoy the fruits of our many years of hard labor.
And that's all for today's news. Thank you for joining us. And remember, FPI has a vision to provide professional financial planning for all. For more information, visit fpi.co.za.